Yeah, I found out through just a social event I was at, and Nina had a little stand up there, and she just kind of said what she was all about, and I just was pretty interested. I always wanted to help the community, so yeah, that's kind of what got me driven on Imagine Missoula.
Matt showed me and had me help him one day, and then I joined the group, and it's been pretty fun.
My dad is actually Christian Kreider, one of the co-founders, so I was here for the original meetings, you know, what do we want Imagine Missoula to look like, and what are we going to focus on in the community, and who's going to be the best leader.
I think it was on Facebook. I saw somebody post something on there, and I thought it was interesting, so I looked into it a little bit, and I was a part of Lambda, the Lambda Alliance on campus at the time, and we were looking to kind of get into the community more and do a little more helping, so I emailed Nina and asked her if if this is something we could volunteer for every once in a while, and had her come to Lambda, and she gave her spiel to everybody at Lambda, and I think quite a few people were interested and went and helped her with that, so it was pretty cool, and been kind of talking to her and watching it ever since.
Actually, I saw Nina somewhere, and she told me about it. Now, actually, it was quite a while before I actually ended up volunteering for it. But I would see the posts on Facebook, and as soon as it was something that I could do, once I did it, I was like, oh, this is easy and it's fun. So we've had a blast.
About a year for me.
I'm about half a year now.
Oh, how long has Imagine Missoula been around? 3 years?
I think Nina said around 3.
Around 3 years, so I've been volunteering for about 3 years.
It's about 2 years now, I think.
Kind of like yard work, I guess, where it's needed. I always like doing that.
Yeah, I just like moving most.
I really like helping out, like moving, you know, single moms who need to be moved, and, you know, a couple years ago I actually helped tutor a kid in Spanish, just things like that, you know. I like one-on-one interactions, that's what I'm really good at.
I like the snow shoveling, oddly enough. It's a great free workout.
I've just been pretty fortunate in my life, so I just would like to try my hardest to give back to the community and yeah, put in my time, I guess. It's a really humbling experience too, just helping out other people. Obviously don't have the services that are able to do volunteer work like this. It's just a really good thing for the community.
It sounds cliche, but it feels really good, you know. You're there with a person in your community that they're your neighbor, and you know, like, we're called to love the city, and this is the best way to love the city. You know, it kind of depends on the situation, but sometimes you end up having a great time with the person. You get to know them, you know, go call them up a couple weeks later and just check in on how they're doing. It feels really good to know that you're becoming involved in their lives and you're helping make their life better.
I like it. It's kind of, I kind of associate it a little bit with like gambling, which is an awkward thing to think about. But you know, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, you know, maybe we'll see how it goes, and you know, you put your quarter in or whatever, and you win something. But it's kind of like, you know, you volunteer to go help somebody, and you're like, yeah, you know, I don't know if this is going to be somebody who's going to be like really thankful, or if it's somebody who's like, yeah, okay, you know. So it's really nice. It's when you get out there and you help somebody, and then you end up meeting them, and they're really thankful, and they really appreciate it, and it's, you know, it's worth a lot to be able to do that, and it makes you feel good. So.
You get to meet like really interesting people from who you're helping, and actually from the group, and make new friends like that.
So I'm a student at the university. I'm in education.
Okay.
And the reason I actually chose to go into education was a couple years ago Nina called me and she's like, you know what, I have this kid who needs a Spanish tutor. And so I met with him, started just tutoring him, helping him through Spanish 1. You know, it wasn't really hard, but it was really cool to watch someone just begin to understand things that you're trying to explain to them. And that's what really made me realize I wanted to be a teacher.
And you know, it's one of those things that kind of comes around too in the end, where, you know, we've got a neighbor who this winter, you know, we had huge amounts of snow, and he has a snowblower, and I'd be out there trying to, you know, and he'd just walk around with the snow. He's like, I got this. I was like, oh, that's great, you know. Yeah. I'll go shovel somebody else's yard, and then you can do mine. That's great.
So we met Sylvia. We went to help her move and help her pack up her things, and we just got along really well, and actually, she asked me officially when we were done if I would be her friend. So we started going out to breakfast or lunch about twice a month. We get to hang out, and what did we do last time? Did we go to the museum? We went to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation last time, and went together and looked around at stuff. She doesn't, it's hard for her to get out, so we take her to do stuff like that. And actually been in contact with a couple people that I volunteered with.
Oh, wow.
Sharing recipes and just, funny stuff like that.
That's pretty awesome.
It's just kind of cool, making different connections than I would otherwise make.
That is so cute. Nina! It's so good to meet you. I'm trying so I'm going to recognize her. I just know I am.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, good.
Well, I was helping my mom take care of my dad before my mom needed help. My dad had Parkinson's. That's why we have the wheelchair around. And he died in '05. And it was really soon after that that I realized my mom needed more care than I thought, because she's always been physically capable, but I didn't realize she just wasn't able to do some things anymore.
Right.
So yeah, I've been caregiving for a while. You know, I got her name through Missoula Aging Services, because Missoula Aging Services, had started doing some groups of people that were wanting to volunteer time.
Right.
And they would go through Missoula Aging Services to come to people's homes to help them. People who were mostly on Meals on Wheels was who they were contacting to see if they needed any help with raking. And yes, I did. And then the next year, I called them again to see if they still could offer that help with raking, and they said they didn't get any volunteers, but they knew about this group, and I'd never heard of them before. They said, Imagine Missoula. They gave me the phone number. I called, and Nina was absolutely delightful. She was going to come out and meet me and send some rakers, and then the whole meeting part didn't get to happen, but she sent people to help me with the raking. And my mom is very active still, and she loves yard work, but I was starting to worry about her in the front yard. And we have a backyard is fenced, and I said that we could handle the backyard, Mom and I, but I didn't feel comfortable with her in the front yard, because I get so busy and so concentrated on what I'm doing, I can't keep track of what she's doing. And so I asked for help for the front yard, and then little by little I started asking for more help, because it just got to be harder even for Mom and I to try to do the backyard together. She would wander with her rake, and, and she would just get a pile of leaves, and she would just trail through the backyard with them, and then she would see me working in the garden. So as soon as I finished in the garden, she'd come along behind me and pull all the plants out. And if I wasn't paying attention, I replanted so many times, you just can't even imagine. So I started realizing it's too hard to do the work and keep track of Mom. So I did start asking for more help. The volunteers have been wonderful. They are the most pleasant people. I just feel so grateful to meet them. They are wonderful. They're pleasant. They're hardworking. They seem to thank me for an opportunity for them to volunteer, and I always wish I had a plate full of cookies every time they come, but I don't, but I sure would like to. She sent a crew to help me clean up the back field, because there was a lot of raking, and I couldn't get my lawnmower going. The weeds had gotten so high I couldn't cut through the weeds. She sent over an amazing crew of people, and I just stood here and watched them working. It was just amazing. Next thing I knew, the field looked like a beautiful acreage. It looked like the back 40, that you could be so proud of. And they just hauled all the wood burning pile away, and stuff that I didn't need to be hanging on to, and cleaned it up, and it was wonderful. It really was. They're great people. And and every volunteer I could say that about. Oh my gosh, leaky sink, plugged sink, aerating the lawn, raking, a lot of yard work more than anything. But Imagine Missoula has been wonderful, and I always say to Nina, am I asking too much? I said, Nina, if you have a quota, have I met my quota? You can cut me off. And she keeps saying, no, no, no. We have people who've been moving boxes all day and they would love to do yard work. And I go, oh, okay. So then she sends them. And it's been wonderful. And she's really helped me a lot, because being a full-time caregiver is hard when you think about what you wish you could be out doing, like gardening or raking, and but you don't really get to go out and do it. Sometimes my hands are full.
Right.
It definitely has been a good experience for me, and I have passed on the name of Nina and Imagine Missoula many times. To people who want to volunteer, but also to people who need help. I seem to need more people who know more people who need help than people who have extra time on their hands. But I think once like I keep telling Nina, I can't wait till the day that I get to start helping, that I get to start volunteering. I'm looking forward to that. Really cool. And I really feel that way about this organization, that I do want to give back, because I would love to be a part of them. They're great. I will say that Imagine Missoula has been absolutely wonderful.